Okay, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're figuring out how to take a chaotic, completely beautiful mind and transform it into a crystal clear point of view. You know, if you're the kind of person who thinks visually before you think verbally, you absolutely know that frustration, right? The struggle of trying to talk about your ideas before they're fully baked. So today, we're going to look at a system designed to help you work through those ideas so much faster, letting you finally see your thoughts and communicate them with absolute clarity.
Here's our cognitive roadmap for today. We're going to hit the visual thinker's burden, reframing the brain dump, defining the core tension, the 4 curiosity branches, finding your point of view, and finally, making it a habit.
Kicking things off with Section 1, the visual thinker's burden, and exactly why your brain feels so full.
I've got to ask you something. Do you constantly feel just overwhelmed by emotional reactions and concepts that you can't quite put into words yet? Like random observations, contradictions, ideas that feel super important but are nowhere near clear? If you're not in your head right now, listen, you are not alone. And more importantly, you aren't broken. There is a very specific reason your brain feels like a packed room right now.
What's really fascinating here is the realization that this mental exhaustion, it's not a flaw. You're not disorganized. It's just because your brain is constantly collecting. As a creative person, you are always gathering patterns, aesthetics, emotional reactions, and tensions. The catch is, almost all of this raw data never actually gets flushed out. You've got this massive creative plate, and holding on to all that unprocessed information is, frankly, incredibly draining.
Which brings us to Section 2, reframing the brain dump, a brand new perspective.
This is where we completely redefine an old, tired productivity hack. We're moving away from the old way of just tossing tasks off our plate, asking, what do I need to get done today? That's just not enough for a creative mind. Instead, we're shifting toward treating the brain dump as a safe release point for visual processing. Think of it as a dedicated thinking environment. Visual thinkers usually understand their own ideas way better once they can physically see them written out in front of them.
So the real game changer here is a specific method called curiosity mapping. This isn't just emptying your brain to be a productivity machine. No, it's a dynamic creative thinking tool. It literally allows you to physically massage those complex, messy subjects and distill them down so you can finally uncover your true perspective. Let's look at exactly how it works. Moving right along to Section 3, defining the core tension, setting up the map.
We're going to walk through these 5 exact steps together. First, identify the tension, then create branches, free-think, edit, and finally, find your point of view. To really wrap our heads around this, we're going to build one out live right now.
Picture a totally blank 2-page spread in your notebook. Right smack in the middle, you write down your core tension. For our case study today, which comes from a super fascinating design curriculum observation, the tension is this. Why do some objects feel emotionally meaningful while others feel disposable? This is your looming question. It's the friction point your brain has been chewing on. And everything we do next is going to radiate outward from this one central question.
That takes us to Section 4, the 4 curiosity branches, expanding the thought.
So from that central tension, you're going to draw lines outward to create these specific pathways. First up, what I notice. Like, what are the actual tangible observations you're making? Second, what I feel. What's your gut emotional reaction to this tension? Third, what I assume. What biases or hypotheses are you bringing with you? Fourth, what I ultimately want. What's the desired outcome here? And finally, we've got a bonus category. What if? This is your space to counter your own thoughts. Like, what if I'm entirely wrong about literally all my assumptions?
Now for the absolute secret sauce. You set a timer and just free think. You dump every single messy, unpolished thought onto the page under those branches. Do not try to make it sound intelligent. Don't try to be cool. Stop performing. This space is entirely for you. Just write exactly what comes to mind. Under what I notice, maybe you scribble down that people keep handwritten notes way longer than digital ones, or that hotel lobbies feel super calming. Under what I assume, you might guess that convenience kills our emotional attachment to things. Just get the whole shebang out on paper.
Now for the really magical part. Section 5, finding your point of view, the edit.
Okay, so the timer goes off. You step back and look at the whole map. You're hunting for the common threads running through all that beautiful chaos. By looking at all your unfiltered, raw thoughts, you can start circling repeating concepts. You might see words like emotional, tactile, intentional, or ritual popping up over and over again.
You extract these repeating patterns and group them as your key themes. Don't stress about making it look perfect. This is purely about condensing all your sprawling ideas into digestible, bite-sized pieces.
And that process elegantly funnels all of that raw data into one polished, undeniable point of view. From all those scattered, messy thoughts about handwritten notes and calming spaces, we arrive right here. People connect more deeply with objects that make them feel emotionally seen. Boom! You've taken an overwhelming design tension and massaged it into a crystal clear perspective that you can now effortlessly communicate to anyone. You can finally see your own idea. How cool is that?
Finally, we arrive at Section 6, making it a habit, integrating the magic.
The true beauty of curiosity mapping is that it doesn't need to be some rigid, complicated ritual. You can lean on this framework whenever you need to download your brain and find your focus. Try it during your morning planning to clear the decks, or maybe use it for a quick evening reset. It's honestly a lifesaver after moments of overstimulation, like when you've been doom scrolling or consuming way too much content, or right before you sit down to do your real creative work. It becomes this reliable sanctuary for your brain to process the world.
So I'm going to leave you with this to chew on. What recurring thought, tension, or idea has your brain been desperately clinging to lately? Like, what is the mental clutter you need to release into a curiosity map today? Grab a piece of paper, set a timer, map out your tension, and see what incredible point of view is waiting inside that crowded mind of yours. You might just surprise yourself with how clearly you can see the world once you get it all out on paper.